Never give up on your dreams, no matter how painful and difficult your journey is. Lisa. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of Journey to the Mic with yours truly, Mike Garcia. And here I am with a very special guest. Now, you've heard me up to this point where I give a little bit of a monologue and give a little bit of a thing going on, but every now and then we tend to want to do things on our own. But every now and then you come across that person that has been there, done that, and he or she makes you see a new perspective, makes you see a new way on how to either acquire clients, focus on your business, be, that person that someone can depend on. And it literally can just come out of nowhere. But this individual, I would have to say, is probably one of the biggest masters of email marketing that I've ever seen in my entire life. And considering I'm a comic book nerd, he is the Flash to me. No, not Ezra Miller, this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome your friend and mine, Tom Aglio. Tom, how you doing, my guy?
Good, brother. I appreciate that awesome introduction.
Oh man, like it is once again, and I keep saying it over and over. It is like I'm getting speechless right now. It's very interesting. Like it's awesome having you here. And first of all, how have you been? How is everything? How's the family?
Good, man. Good. We're expecting another one. We got a baby girl on the way, so
Yes,
I
congratulations.
appreciate it, man. We got Supergirl joining the league, so it's
A-
good. It's exciting.
Any names yet?
Yeah, we're gonna be naming her after my wife's grandma, Zelda.
Ooh, Zelda, nice.
Yeah, right. It's good. Like I'm cool with it because I'm a huge gamer, and I love the name. I think it's a gorgeous name, and my wife is obviously it means a lot to her, so it worked out.
So we got your son Zachary, little
Yep.
Zach, and we got
Mhm.
Zelda on the way, two Z's.
Exactly. Double Z.
Well,
So,
once again, thank you for coming on. And once again, congratulations. It's going to be a big family, and I'm sure your wife is proud.
thank you, man. Yeah, she is. We're super excited.
Well, here we are, and we speak a lot about email marketing and how a lot of people would say that it's probably the easiest thing to do. Some people say it's the hardest thing to do.
Sure.
What makes it so unique in a variety of ways?
It's one of those things that it's something that everybody knows about, right? I mean, everybody knows marketing and stuff like that, and everybody's heard of it, but it's unique in that there's just a lot more opportunity out there for it than you'd realize, and there are a lot of just really big companies, man, really big companies that are, they keep these internal rosters of voice talent that you wouldn't know otherwise, and it's how I've worked with companies like Discovery Plus and AT&T, and those are all from my email marketing. And so I'd say it's a tried and true method, and it's not something that's new to people, but it's definitely unique in that it presents a lot of opportunities, and it gives you access to these jobs and these auditions that you probably wouldn't see anywhere else.
Would you say in a way that it's a little bit harder now for a lot of people to be involved in email marketing? Because let's face it, we try to oversee or try to see the other side of everything. Every
Sure.
pro has its cons. And the fact is, our industry is so oversaturated with talent. So I can imagine if I'm a third person, I can imagine, wait, 10 or 20 people has emailed me, like, what would be the method to try to correct that? Or is it, you know what, it's a numbers game and we just got to do our best and put ourselves out there?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a numbers game to a certain extent. You're always going to get a lot more non-responses than responses, and there are definitely ways, in ways that I coach and stuff that you can increase those chances of getting a response. But again, it's still going to be it's still a numbers game in that sense. But what I like to do is, and there are people who really like to find something personal to relate to, the potential client or the person you're emailing, and that's fine. Listen, if that works for you, there's really no one way to do this. It's kind of just your way.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like to do is I like to if I can't find something about them, and I really like to say something about myself, something about me outside of voiceover, outside of business. My philosophy is that this is a business transaction, right? And the basis of any business transaction is trust. And one of the main ways to build trust is through familiarity. And that familiarity, you never know by you saying, I tell people I'm a gamer or whatnot, and we talk about we wind up talking about video games or whatever it is, and just kind of segues naturally into that voiceover speak. So. I really believe that by saying something about yourself, and of course your work speaks for itself, but saying something about yourself, you just don't know who that's going to resonate with, and it's something that I really have found a lot of success with.
In working backwards a little bit, especially from
Yeah,
your part with your journey, like
sure.
how much of trial and error did you have to test in order for email marketing to even be effective?
Oh man, I'm still going through it. I'm still finding new things that work for me and things that don't. But I've definitely found that I started marketing, in April of I wanted to say I think it was like 2019 or something, and it really took me until June to book my first job, and then after that it was kind of just finding my footing. Like, okay, these types of companies are good. Oh wow, I can reach out to these types of companies and these types of companies, and I really honestly, it probably took a good 6 to 12 months to really find my stride and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and really just solidify. Okay, this is the type of these are the best practices for me, and this is what works for me in an email. It took a little while, and I'm happy to say I was able to build that up and find what works for me. But yeah, I'd say from when I started marketing to when I really found my stride, probably like good half a year to a year for sure.
Well, it seems like what you're doing is working fantastic because I don't mean to flatter you, but I'm going to flatter you. With an impressive resume with AT&T and iHeartRadio and Pepsi and McDonald's, Nintendo, Marvel, Jesus Christ, Marvel. Like looking back on it, like let's go back to memory lane. Let's stroll down memory lane a little bit. How did voiceover find you, or
Yeah.
how do you find it?
I was acting my whole life, and I did, I did theater and everything like that. And I always used to get told, hey, you have a really, really, you have a nice voice. You should really give voiceover.
Ah.
And I'll fully admit, I will never forget this because it's always good to humble yourself. I'll never forget. I had a friend of mine, we were on the train, it was in college, and he was like, hey, you should really, I have a friend who does voiceover. You should really consider it. And I was like, nah, I want to do real acting, man. And one thing led to another, and enough people I think told me that I had a nice voice, and I was finally like, let me just do it. And Brooke, Brooke, my wife, she when we were dating, she was like, you really should try. You've been talking about it for a while, and I did, and it just took off.
Would you say having a family, not that it's a burden or a hindrance? That's a word, right? Hindrance? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, my English is getting messed up. Not that any family is a burden, but would you say at first it was harder to support your family business, to support your business while having a family? Because let's face it, sometimes we have to work at another job to support our business, but to also support our loved ones.
Yeah, it was definitely hard, and my wife and I, we kind of did the tried and true, you work at your dream full time, and then once that's established, then I'll work at mine. And it was tough, man. A lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings. My wife was going to school for radiation therapy to treat cancer patients, and
Oh
she was kind
wow.
of like, yeah, reinventing herself and reinventing her career. Her career is, we met in the business world, and so she, when she realized that that wasn't her passion anymore, she decided to go into something in the health field because that's what her family was always in. And finally,
So voiceover is out of the question for her.
well, it's funny. She says she's better than at it than I am. Of course, our women are always better than
Of
we are.
course.
But yeah, so she went to school for 2 years, and I built my voiceover business while working full time and having the health insurance. And then when she was done with that and she kind of had herself established, then it was my turn, and we went kind of from there. And it's tough. I went full time when we had just had a kid, and we had just bought a house, so it was scary. But it's definitely tougher to do that when you have those things, but in a way it's great motivation too.
What would you say would be the hardest moments that you ever had to deal with? Because I know there are always those months, and and even I go through them. I even went through it last year. You and I spoke about it outside of this, where you could be going through something personal in your life and it literally takes you out of the business and it takes you out from everything you enjoy doing. And you really have to get your mindset focused on this one thing.
Yeah,
How did you personally deal with something like that?
it was a few moments that really come to mind. It was when we moved into the new house. I had my booth still. We lived with my in-laws at the time. I had my booth in the house there, and so I'd have to go back and forth, and I really had to limit the amount of auditions and stuff that I was doing, which was rough, and it's tough. And I'd have to go early in the morning to do like my agency auditions and stuff, so that was tough. So I was really limiting the numbers that I could get in there with the auditions, because that's also a numbers game to a certain extent. That and also just even now, man, I still experience it. We were talking about it before, that the last couple of weeks have been a little bit slower, and it's scary. It's scary because working a regular day job, you're used to getting a steady paycheck.
Yes.
Whereas yeah, if you were working in as a freelancer, you don't have a salary cap and you make more money, sure, but you may have a couple of weeks where you don't get any money in, and it's you got to really juggle that. And I'm going through it right now, and so it's kind of just it's one of those things that it's I don't know, like I'm navigating it, and those are definitely the times that it's hardest. And it's when I'll usually talk to Brooke and I'll tell her my career is over, and but it's all good, and we always bounce back. And so I think once you accept that the money comes in sporadically, and you accept that it's okay to take time off, and it's okay that if you're not working, you're not making money, but that's not always a bad thing. So
One thing I've always learned is the fact that being a successful entrepreneur not only makes us rely or primarily focus on the world of voiceover, but to do other things as well that either relates to it and that we can have fun with it as well.
yeah,
What would you say yeah, let's call them side businesses. Like, what would you say is yours aside from, because I know you're a coach. You are a
yeah,
coach. Yes.
yes, yeah. Yeah, I am. I coach. I started coaching in direct marketing. That was like my first thing that I did, and I teamed up with Abacus, which is a well-known school in the city, and they asked me to come on as a member of the team, and be a coach, but also be a career coach. So
Nice.
that's kind of like those are the things that I do. Next to my voiceover career as a performer. And it's like the same thing as your voiceover career in itself. It's you want to have as many lines on the water as possible. I really do believe that. And so it's I'm always somebody who's always going to have a bunch of different types of hustles, and just trying to keep the money flowing in. So that was a nice way to add a little bit of stability into this crazy acting life that we've chosen for ourselves.
Well, we came through on everything of where we've been to where we are now. Where would you say is the next step? What's the next level for the great Tom Aglio?
The next level for me is I'm really refining my audition techniques. I make good money doing voiceover, which I'm super thankful about. But I'd say refining my audition techniques, and once I do, becoming the voice of a brand. Not just so I'm the voice of AT&T Fiber for all of their podcast commercials, which is amazing, and I
That's
love
awesome.
so much. Yeah, but I'd love to be the voice of a brand for across TV and podcasts and email or and radio and stuff. And so I'd say that that's the next big thing, and I think I'm definitely close.
What would you give to, let's say, a regular listener, whoever it is, voice artist, entrepreneur, newly person, doesn't matter. What would you say is the best advice that you would give them?
The best advice, and I'm glad you asked that, and I think that this goes in line with anything freelance, not just voiceover, but speaking to voiceover specifically. I try to tell people, and my students, when you're first starting out, remember that eagerness, remember that just excitement and joy, man. That just you couldn't wait to get all these auditions and submit yourself for all these auditions and see what happens with them, and you just loved the process. Because listen, this is a tough business, dude. It's hard and it
Oh,
sucks.
absolutely.
We both
Oh,
know there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Emphasis on the last part that goes into it, and just that pure joy when you first started out of just the sky's the limit, and really seeing where this can go. Don't ever lose that, because it is just if you can just keep your head high, and just have fun while you're doing it. Remember, because this is a fun business, man. It's not worth doing if we're not having fun. If you can just keep your head high and remember that, you're in good shape.
it's something that a lot of people always forget from time to time on the fact that auditioning is the job.
It
and
is.
booking is only that extra bonus. It's like the cherry on top.
It is, man. It is. And when I coach my students, I tell them I'm not coaching you how to do the job because anybody can do the job. When you do the job, it's a lot of times it's they tone you down, and you may not make as the same choices that you make when you do that you would when you do the audition. It's I'm teaching you how to audition, and that really is the job. It's getting good at auditioning and getting remembered, and by getting remembered, you're able to that opens the door to more possibilities and more opportunities.
Absolutely. I want to circle back to email marketing because, like I said, you're a master at it.
Thank you.
And a lot of people, they're following your footsteps. And obviously, we're not here to like copy off of each other because every person is different. Like you said,
Sure.
every
Yeah.
client is different, every company is different, and so on and so forth. But when you mention companies, like, what exactly do you mean by that? Because there could be a wide range of production companies to ad
Sure.
agencies. Like, what is an effective, not your strategy, or unless you want to, what's an effective strategy on how to approach these potential clients?
Yeah, I think having a schedule for yourself is important. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm gonna market between this time and that time. I mean like, say okay, on I'll give you an example, like my schedule on Mondays. I market to automotive ad agencies because I'm something I've recently been getting into is automotive voiceover. And Tuesdays I market to production companies. Wednesdays I market to just regular ad agencies, non-automotive. On Thursdays I do companies themselves, Fortune 500 companies, really any brand that you can think of, whether it's Coca-Cola or whatever it may be. And then Fridays is usually I usually alternate between e-learning companies and video game companies. So I'd say that really start smaller is where I started with production companies and ad agencies, and then see which ones really resonate with you. The types of work, the type of work that you're getting from them, the type of clients that they have that resonate well with you, and then go from there. See, okay, maybe you do a lot of work for ad agencies and production companies in the tech world. Okay, maybe you should start marketing yourself to tech companies. Yeah, so some of your big brands, they may use agents and stuff like that, and that's fine in order for like their big national commercials, but their internal jobs and whatnot, you never know. I do a lot of narration for bigger brands, and Discovery Plus. I have commercials running that run in during the show and stuff, but these spots that you do, this episode of XYZ is brought to you by Home Depot. I mean, that's a voiceover job, and that's what I do a lot for Discovery Plus. So it's really just a matter of trial and error and seeing where your voice fits.
Yeah, it is the trial and error that a lot of people still need to understand and realize because, as we discussed earlier, this is an oversaturation of the talent that we have, and everyone has a unique voice in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
However, it can get to the point where we sometimes do feel mentally defeated because a lot of people, and I know a bunch, can't handle rejection. They can't handle the mindset of someone saying no or someone saying pick me, pick me, pick me. No,
yeah,
it's not like that because your experiences and through my experiences, it's about the client. We're
yeah,
here to help them.
yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
what they need to understand.
Yeah, it is. I know so many actors hate when they get line reads, because we're actors and we want to make the decisions and we want to show them that our interpretation of something is the right interpretation. And there's really no right or wrong interpretation. And it's something that I've come to learn, with this whole conversational thing. My conversational is going to be different from your conversational because everybody talks
Yes.
differently. So as long as you are yourself, then you're going to sound conversational because that's how you talk. So I just it is. It's one of those things like if the client tells you how they want it, then and they give you a line read, then great, go for it. You need to really keep your ego in check. And I think and Karin Gilfrey said it the best. Like you
Shout
could
out to
be
Karin Gilfrey.
oh she's the
Shout out.
best. Everyone just follow her. She's amazing. But she said it the best. It's like you could make the world's greatest apple pie, but if they want cherry pie, there's nothing you can do about that. So you have to keep that in mind, and you really have to understand that. And once you come to terms with that you are not going to be right for every job, and Robert De Niro says it the best, you're probably not going to book the job, then that's freeing, man. It's super freeing, and you can just go on your way and you can write your own ticket.
To piggyback off of the strategies when it comes to email marketing, and I know that I've learned that email marketing is great, and there are tons of ways to market, whether it's email,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, direct. I was about to say PayPal. PayPal.
Hey
I was
man,
literally about to
maybe
say
you're
PayPal.
maybe you've tapped into some PayPal marketing that I don't even know about. So
That'd be interesting.
once you figure that out, please teach me your ways.
Yes. But for the listeners, like, yes, email marketing is important and we all have to do it. But the thing is, you have to know what it is that you're selling. Your
Yeah,
voice is not enough. Like
right.
you have to my own coach uses this analogy all the time that you can't just throw spaghetti, have it stick, and then see
Right.
what happens. You gotta
Yeah.
cook the thing. You gotta, do some paprika. You gotta do some, some garlic. You gotta make sure, and I'm using terrible analogies. Basically, you have to make sure that whatever you're doing
Yeah.
is reliable to the person that you're marketing to.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're just another person that has no idea whatever it is that they're doing, and it's going to look bad because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know this. The potential client does remember who you are.
Yeah. They do. They do. It's one of those things, it's a few things. It's, you know, be respectful, be professional. I mean, professionalism goes a long way. And trust me, we remember the people who are not professional, so that goes a long way. Your voice type itself obviously goes a long way. And, how you handle, your response time, all of that people remember. And so that's why I'm like super big into saying something about myself because I don't know, man. I just feel like it helps me connect with potential clients. And like I said, anybody can do the job. And at the end of the day, sometimes workplace culture is more important than anything else. And they want to know
Mm-hmm.
that they can work with you. We want to work with people, man. And we don't want to work with robots and stuff. And shout out to the whole AI bit that's going on right now.
It's just
But we want to work with people, and that's why I'm big into just talking about myself and really just explaining to them who I am. And listen, if it's a fit, then great. And if it's not, it is what it is. I wish you the best.
what would you say, and we'll end it on this here. What would you say would have to be one of the biggest no-nos that you can tell someone? Something that they should never ever do.
For like voiceover in general, or for marketing specifically.
Voiceover, marketing, anything that you've seen where you're just like, dude, stop.
There are really two things that stick out to me. Giving them and this is something that I used to do, and I lost a lot of clients, and that I'll never get back. Doing this in the beginning, and I'm not afraid to say that is giving your whole life story in an email. They're busy, man. They don't want to hear. They don't. Not that they don't care, but it's a cold open. They'll become friends with you when as you do the job. When you do the job. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
big one. And also just being super super like overly eager, and I'm big into follow-ups, man, but you got to know when it's acceptable to follow up. So if I've seen people, and I've had people try to market to me, and they follow up like every day, and I'm like come
I
on.
I've had this problem, especially on LinkedIn. I've had
Yeah,
this problem.
it's too pushy, man. It's too pushy. And nobody likes a sale, nobody likes a salesperson. And I know, yeah, we're selling our voice, but it's just don't be too pushy about it. Just you have to be. I tell everyone to be like slightly indifferent, and it's like you have to be as willing to walk away from the table as they are. It shows confidence, and it's playing a little bit hard to get. And at the end of the day, we want to work with people who are confident. So being overly eager, I think overly pushy, and just telling your life story, those are two big no nos. It's a quick way to lose a client and not look like a professional.
There you said it here, folks. Like the fact, be professional, be respectful, and be patient.
Yes.
Be
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah. Oftentimes, man, when you market, they're not going to have a job for you right away. If they do, shit, like that's awesome. A lot of times they're not going to, and it is what it is. You have to accept that and know that you're in it for the long haul, and it's the long game.
I do have one more question,
Yeah,
and
of
I
course.
know you're very busy, so I'm gonna let you go. But I do have one more
No,
question. I had someone reach out to me and ask me what were my thoughts on email marketing to clients outside the US, foreign
sure.
clients,
Yeah,
like the ones that we've seen in Dubai, in India,
sure.
in Europe, or wherever. And they asked me at one point, they were like, well, I quoted the same as we would do anywhere else. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you gotta understand the fair rates in one country versus another. Fair rates here are not gonna be the same as fair rates in China. So one, you have to come to terms with that and accept it. if that's a market you want to work in. But you also have to know how they do business. I don't market too much to overseas clients, something I will probably do in the near future, in the coming years. But you have to learn how they do business and what they like. It's funny. From what I've heard, clients in England and clients in Italy especially love cold emails. So for them, maybe your email can be a little bit longer because they like to have that conversation. You got to know how they do business, and you got to know what the rates are there. But it's the same thing. You always try to find out what their budget is, and is that going to be acceptable to you? And that's a big thing.
That's interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, there. There's a secret sauce right there, especially if you just want to get your feet wet.
Yeah, exactly. You just know how they do business and take that extra time to figure that out, because you don't want to, again, you don't want to look unprofessional.
Oh, well, there you go. Tom, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. And how can people reach out to you if they want to ask you questions, message you, if they need a coach from you? Like,
sure. Yeah, man. Oh, it's always a pleasure, man. You're my boy, and I think this is an amazing podcast that you're hosting here and everything. If people want to reach out to me, you can check out my website. It's Tom Aglio, TOMAGLIO.com. And my coaching is all on my website. So if you're looking for marketing coaching, you can reach out to me there. And if you're looking for more performance coaching, I coach through Abacus. So you can check out, it's abacusent.nyc is the website. So yeah, so those are the two ways that you can reach out to me.
All right, there you go, folks. And of course, if you want to reach out to me, voiceofgarcia.com, or email me, mike@voiceofgarcia.com, where you can ask me anything you want, if you can provide your feedback. And go to Tom. He's awesome. I've known him, what was it, about 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, it's been a few
while.
Years. Yeah. It's, time flies.
You see? That's how you do. You make connections. Be friends with everybody.
Exactly.
Stop being a loner.
Remember, it's community, not competition.
It's a universe. It's a team. We're a team.
There you go. Exactly. You got it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of this podcast, and we will tune in next time for another special guest. And always remember, when it comes to the world of voiceover, your journey is just beginning.